The What, Why Now podcast.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Day of my life winning the last fight. It was amazing just to lift everyone's spirit. The first day of tournament, gold in 60 kilograms, Ashley Mackenzie. I felt so happy. I was lost for words.
Welcome to the DJ Scottos What Why Now podcast, where I'll be inviting special guests onto my show to ask some questions about their life and success stories. For this episode, I've invited another special guest. We'll be finding out what it was like growing up as a child in London, nearly dying after heart surgery at the age of 18 months, being diagnosed with ADHD and the impact it's had on his life, how he found judo, winning a gold medal at the Commonwealth Games, appearing on reality programs like Big Brother, being a dad, the impact of being a TikTok creator, plans for the future, plus much more. I am really excited to introduce our very special guest today. Let's make some virtual noise for Ashley Mackenzie, aka Ashley Judo.
Yeah, right, guys.
Thank you, Ashley. Welcome. Firstly, thank you so much for joining my podcast. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Yeah.
Look, so I have been a bit cheeky before doing the podcast, and so get people to ask you some questions. So I've sent some in to me, by the way. There were thousands. So first question was, what would you tell your younger self, and where do you see yourself in the next 10 years?
What I would tell my younger self, I still wouldn't be able to do purely for the factors I've got ADHD and my behavioural problems when I was younger. But I would just tell myself to try to do like reading and writing more.
Yeah.
I hate it now, but I would tell myself, my younger self especially, because I struggle with it so much. I struggle with people's names on live. I give away so much percentage of my business purely for the fact is I can't do registers. And if I know if I'd learned to read and write when I was younger, I'd be more successful now in my life.
And I can relate. And by the way, as you know, and we'll be talking a lot about ADHD during this podcast, but I can relate to that in many ways. And we'll get a bit deeper into that because the impact that's had on not just your life, but people that have ADHD. And hopefully through this podcast, people will learn a lot about this because it's not easy. The other part of this was a bit cheeky because I did ask two questions, but where do you sort of see yourself in the next sort of 5 to 10 years?
It's such a crazy time in my life at the moment. I'm on so many different platforms, pushing every day, and I don't know. I see myself eventually, I'd like to say happily engaged and married, but as life goes on, it gets crazier, and I don't know if I'm ready for that. At the age of 35, I'm happy with my little girl. She's my world, and as long as she's safe, and I know she'll always have money because of my ex, but in terms of making a life for her, as long as her life's all right, I couldn't tell you where my life is going to be. In fact, I could end up in Jamaica. I could end up in Paris. I could end up still on TikTok. I just don't know where. My life is so up and down at the moment. I could not tell you where I'll be in 5 years. I have no clue.
And you are quite open, by the way. I've got to say, being a fellow TikToker who supports yourself and many other people, you are very open. You're like an open book in some ways, and I guess that will come on to a bit more about that, the challenges that faces being on the camera or in the public eye. The other question we had was, what are your thoughts about young streamers like yourself sacrificing having a social life at times on TikTok?
I do think it's at times mentally draining. I think you can. I've never been a jealous type, but I do look at other creators, and I do I see other creators who don't do much to entertain, but then gets um a lot out of it. And I sometimes question, am I doing things right streaming? Am I not doing enough funny stuff? But I do see myself as one of the funny ones on the app, and I do see myself. I will try my hardest to entertain us, but then there's a lot of manipulation on the app. There's a lot of, so I'd say to a young streamer, just be careful with others in terms of knowledge of there is people going through bad times and come to watch your live. I'd also say be careful of other creators. Um, Other creators would use you to benefit their self. I feel that I've gone through that. I feel I know my true friends on the app. I know the people who truly had me on the app. But the app's a big game, you know. It's a big game of who's got the biggest supporter, who's got the bigger team, and it's a big playground with people who've got big badges, and it's sometimes I wish I never went on it.
Yeah,
Sometimes I
yeah,
generally wish I never found TikTok. Is taken over most of my life. It stresses me out sometimes, but then the benefits of them gaining money, I've made a lot of money on it, and I won't sit back and lie to anyone. I've made I've made a killing on it, and
yeah,
I think that's what every single person for me comes on, and when I first come on, I came on for fun, and some days I do it because I know people want to see me and I know I make someone happy.
yeah,
And I don't come on for myself anymore sometimes.
yeah,
I come on for other people, you know.
yeah.
But then you can definitely see within my eyes if I'm there having fun or I'm just there to entertain. And I've gone I've gone over 10 battles of just doing dares after dares, everyone laughing in my chat, and me getting not even making a tenner.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it works in mysterious ways, this app. That's what I'd say to people.
Last question on the we had on this was you've obviously been on some of the TikTok page recently for being around some events that have been up the boxing and stuff, and you've been called out and stuff. So I know you've done judo. So people sort of asking was how transferable is that into boxing, and if you could potentially have a boxing match, have you got coming up? Who's on your target list?
Honestly, I don't. I honestly, I really, really don't have beef with anyone. I know Rambo's tried to give it to me a couple of times, but deep down, he's messaged me like saying it's all love. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't need to say that on live. I don't need to. He messages me saying it's all love, bro, and maybe it's just for the entertainment.
Yeah,
You know, I'm not maliciously hating anyone. I don't. There's no one. That the person that I want to fight is Pulley. I think he knows that, and I know that. We've got mutual respect for each other. But if there's anyone that I'm going to take out his jaw, it's definitely going to be Pulley. But I want it to be on a misfit card.
yeah,
They talk. There's a lot of talk, but there's never.
yeah.
I mean, even the most hated. Like I was with Live Fest with him, and he talks a big game. I mean, one drink goes down my throat. It's just a recipe for disaster. And
Yeah.
I drunk Rambo. I don't know who the fuck did he think he was, like calling everyone out, and he's looking at me, and I'm like, later, bun this. And I just got in a ring, like respectfully. If I knew he was running towards me, I'd have thrown him out the ring.
Yeah.
But I didn't see him. I was blinded by the security, and that's why I wanted the first security to get out of my way. I said to him, "But he's gonna come, and I'm the one who's gonna get pushed." And you're going to be stopping me from doing anything back. So I said, get out of my face.
Right. So listen, thank you, by the way. Thank you, everybody, for the questions. These are more like icebreaker kind of questions. So look, yeah, so firstly, let's take us back to your childhood. Obviously, I understand you were born in Queen's Park.
Yeah, I grew up in Mozart Estate in Queen's Park. I've always been around there. My parents are still living there. But yeah, it was fun for me. You know, I was very the ill child when I was young. And not a lot of people know that about me, but I was a very ill child.
Actually, talking about that, we nearly lost you, right? around 18 months old. What you've been told? How close was you to dying?
Well, my mum would always, every now and then, give me mouth to mouth, and she was wondering why I was stopped breathing. So she had taken me to A&E or I'd say doctors, whatever, a couple times, and they were like, "No, it was just, don't worry about it." And then they had to, they actually scanned and everything, and I had a hole in my heart. So I was
Wow.
diagnosed with chronic heart disease. It was like basically a hole in my heart. That was at 18 months. And then growing up from that, um, what I didn't realize until about 3, 4 years ago, until my mum said to me, but I've got, I think, 1.5 kidneys as well. I had my
Wow.
tonsils out. I ain't got tonsils at the moment. I got them out when I was younger. I used to have hearing aids as well. And I used to have epileptic fits as well. So when I was young, all the way up to 11, I was in special school due to my behaviour. I wasn't diagnosed when I was young, but they knew I had something. So before I went into being diagnosed, I was already in special school because I was like flat out, I had it. And then obviously I got put in to a psychiatric unit for 6 months, and I can honestly say it was the worst 6 months of my life.
God, that must have been awful. Like, why?
I it,
Why was it
I
six
think
months? By the way, why was it
I,
6 months?
it was 6 months to diagnose what I had. So when I
Right.
came out of there, I had OCD in terms of like you'll always see me with like black, or everything's color coordinated, or like I can't wear Nike with Adidas, or normally my stuff are in like orders. Um, in terms of OCD. In terms of ADHD, well, you know what that is.
Yeah.
And it. I would say it was hard because I knew my mum was leaving me. I knew my family were leaving me. Um, and all I tried to do was try to do the best for them. I tried to behave, but I couldn't. Um, and I think it was harder because my brother was so good in school or in primary school. So I was trying to look up to him, tried to be him, but I couldn't. I tried to succeed in English and in say nursery, not nursery, primary school, and I just couldn't. I didn't
Yeah.
have it in me. Um, so going to the psychiatric unit, I knew by on a Friday at like around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, if you didn't get approached, you knew you weren't going home.
Wow.
So there was a couple weekends when I just I just lost my shit. And there was a thing called like jacuzzi room. It's called jacuzzi room. It's called Colonna Gardens, it was called. And there was one night I just flipped and I was in there all night and I can remember the 3 bars. And what it was is it was a padded room, so you can't hurt yourself. And I just started attacking people because I just blew my lid. Like I blew my lid. Like I thought this was me done. I'm never gonna see my parents for like 6 months. I was young. I was about 9, 10, and I it it for me it was very. I couldn't live in my own head because I knew it was my fault. So for me, it was I would try to make my mum proud
Yeah.
and my brothers and but I knew I couldn't with when it came to education. I couldn't
Yeah.
be like my brother.
And I guess that coming on to the next part of this, judo started. Was I understand there was an incident with Pokemon cards, and I understand someone tried to take it from you or whatever it was.
I had finished and come out the psychiatric unit around I reckon 9, 10, and when I was 11, I was just playing on the streets. Me and my friends and a group of kids come up, and like I said to you, I had epileptic fits then as well. So I wanted to be like Prince Nazim. I really wanted to. I used to love fighting,
Yeah.
but I couldn't bang my head because obviously epileptic fits. If you get hit in the head, you can. So I remember having like a Charizard card, and I remember the geezer taking it. I just whacked him. I was like, "This ain't. I'm taking that card back, bro." And he threw me, and I was like, "What?" I thought I was in a Jackie Chan movie. I said, what the Ross is going on here?" I was going to take the card again, he flipped me, and I just ran home. I was so injured. I was like, oh my God, my back, my neck. And it was AOL back then. It was like the old internet. I remember put throwing and judo come up, and I was like, Mum, like, talk to me what it is. Like, could I do it? Because I'm sure that's what he did. Like, it was like that Karate Kid scene moment, like when, and I'm just like, I'm sure this is what the geezer did to me. And we went to the judo club that Friday. I said to my mum, I swear that's that little fucker who took my card. And it was. He actually did judo, and we become
Wow.
really good friends. Name's Archibald Mensah.
Wow.
Really
Wow.
good friends. And that's my mum said, is he gonna have epileptic fits? He went, no, if anything, we tried to control the head. We never, like, part of judos, you learn how to break fall, you learn how to fall properly without banging your head and that. And he was like, we'll make sure we go through it with Ashley. And in that kind of time in my life, like I said to you, I was getting excluded from special school at least 2, 3 times a week, running out
Wow.
of sessions, having fights with kids, running up trees, throwing things at teachers, stealing shit, going in front of the whole queue. Like we got year 11s and I'm year like 7, and I'm just jumping in front of the whole queue, starting fights, flicking food, like you name it, I did it. You know what I'm saying?
When did you realise that judo wasn't going to be a hobby? This was going to be more than that.
I think I realized in my first tournament, I'd never seen my mum and my brothers so happy to be around me. It was a moment when I knew school and the outside life, my normal life, was never good, in the sense of I knew I'd be in trouble for doing something in my house, or I was always in trouble for something that I caused, should we say. I came back from a tournament and I won a gold, and it was a moment of peace for me. And I
Yeah.
thought, if I can just keep doing this thing, judo, and winning these medals, my mum would love me, and so would my brother.
How old was you when you won your first tournament?
It's first couple months. I
Really?
done
Wow.
I done
Wow.
a big Edmonds tournament. And yeah, I won it. I won a
Wow.
beginner's tournament straight
That's
away.
amazing. That is amazing. Let's talk about the at your first Olympics in London, 2012, which obviously is massive. Being you're from London at the time, supporting Great Britain.
Well, I was so young, and before even that point, British judo, I had so much problems with British judo. I've been banned from the sport. My face, London boy, light skin. I didn't fit the sport. I knew that I did better than the guy number 2 at this point. I knew I got further in the tournaments, but I never knew it was solidified. They could pick any one of us to go. So I remember coming home from college, and the only reason I went college was because your mum would get paid like £50 a week if you were still in education.
Mm.
I never went. I'd just do judo the weekends. I'd just get out of the house at like 8 o'clock and just go around my mates and chill. So, because I was never going to college just for my mum, really, and her
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
When I came home, I remember my mum saying, "Oh, there's a brown letter waiting for you," and I could see her crying a bit. So I thought I was in trouble with the police. Thought, what have I been caught with? What's going on? I opened a letter and it said, Ashley Mackenzie, you'll be representing Great Britain under 60 kilograms in 2012. And
Wow.
a, a relief of me putting my mum and my brother through so much stress when it comes to judo, when it's come to life. I thought this was my way of saying thank you, them coming to watch me. And in that moment, it was just a relief of everything that I've trained for and done within the sport of judo. Like, I'm gonna go to the Olympic Games. Like, it's a massive achievement in my family. And as much as I was 22, I was young, trying to have fun. I never took it serious. Even after that, I think I went out the weekend after, like going out. So I never took it serious. So as much as the Olympic Games was my first Olympic Games, I never took it serious. And I went there and I had the world champion first fight. I fought him well, really well. I was pissed off that I lost, but I think when you're 22 and you get to the first Olympic Games in London, being a London boy, it's it's it it's unexplainable. You know, I fight the first day and I got 2 weeks of partying. You know,
So,
it's
so there was a bonus of losing, but you got to party for 2 weeks, which is
that's how I took it.
yeah, and that's
You
how you
know?
got to look at it sometimes, I guess, with losses. I'll come on to losses in a bit, actually. But what I was going to say with that though, would you say that was probably one of your favourite ones because it was in London, or were there any other ones that were better? I take out the way what you might have won, but actually the actual games itself, the way it's organised, and
It was a bit of peaceful harmony that it was in London because all the other tournaments and the bigger tournaments were not in London. So respectfully, um, I didn't have to pay a fortune for my family to come. They could just sort of took a tube and they were there. And I think, and I always say this in most podcasts or interviews I ever have, I feel that doing the sport that I love in front of the people that loved me would always be the best games. And it was London. All of my people were there, all my club mates, all my peers, because it was London.
yeah.
And I think doing the sport that I love, what's made my life is gave me the kid that I've got today, the life that I've got today, the friends that I've got today. In in front of them, I couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And you think about the people that at that Olympics. I always think about people that they mentioned in other sports, like Anthony Joshua wins a gold at the London, and then there are lots of others, but it was that was massive. And by the way, if anyone that's listening to this right now, I couldn't get a ticket. For God, I really wanted to go. I ended up getting a ticket. Is it Paralympics? They called it.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I got a ticket for the Paralympics that was after the main one
yeah,
for swimming. And I remember going to that and seeing the buzz, the atmosphere at that one as well, and seeing these swimmers like with no arms and no legs swimming. It was like, honestly, it wasn't just, obviously, that was amazing. I can't believe how you can even do that. But secondly, the crowd, I don't know, I've not been to the main one, but that was crazy. The atmosphere was amazing. So I can only imagine if it could only be maybe the same or even better. But I was so like gobsmacked how amazing organised it was, and how hard it was to get a ticket. So well done to you, by the way. So you said you didn't take it seriously, but you still made it to the Olympic Games. You then went to the 2014 Commonwealth Games and you only won a gold, right? What did you do in those 2 years to get to that, to get to where you got to Olympic Games? And I don't know if you went in there in one of the favourites. Explain the story a little bit from 2012 to 2014 and what that meant to you winning that
I
gold.
think there was a program that come out in 2000 and I think 11 or 12, and it was called Bad Boy Olympian, and it was with me, Jessica Ennis, and Tom Daly. And this program got watched so much on BBC. It's on YouTube now, about my life, about me having ADHD and all this stuff. And I remember Big Brother calling my agency and saying to me that we want you to go into the big celebrity Big Brother house in 2012. So you got to imagine that. Like, I'm a young 22-year-old. I've gone from being broke to like having a tiny bit of money coming out of Olympics, the last day of the Olympics, like we're talking the final day of Olympics, me getting absolutely leveled, then that early morning, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. So I had to go from 4 o'clock in the morning, get a taxi back to my house. I was still smashed, like change shower. Manager got me back, change shower, then to go to Big Brother hotel till 7 o'clock that night. I remember coming home and saying to my mum, Mum, I haven't told you yet, but I'm not going to be here for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to the Big Brother. She was like, you're fucking kidding me. I said, I swear to you, you need to watch the program tomorrow night. I'm going to be on it. She went, you're not fucking doing it. I said, Mum, I'm going to Big Brother. She was like, no, you're fucking not. I said, you're not fucking embarrassed yourself. I said, Mum, I got to go. I'm going. She's like, okay, no worries. So I'm glad I told her. And then, yeah, and I went into there, and then straight after, it was like, I came out Big Brother and I had so many like appearances, calendars, so many master classes. It went from like being an average show to being seen in the eye magazines. That lasted full year, you know. And then the Commonwealths, and I thought to myself, in the moment they got announced, it's it was in Birmingham or it was in Scotland. I think it might be Scotland, Glasgow. I thought this is an amazing opportunity to literally. I couldn't do it in the Olympics for my mum and my brothers and my family, but I could definitely win gold here. Like, let this be. If they remember me ever again and I never go to any more Olympics, let them remember this moment. I trained hard, and obviously I was representing England. I wasn't representing Scotland or because it's Commonwealth, so you represent England. And I remember getting to the finals. I remember turning to my mum, and I could just see the passion in her face in the finals. And I was down the score. I wasn't actually winning. I was down the score. And I remember dropping under him, and just driving. And I got like at the highest score. And the relief of winning a big medal, um, it was crazy. It was emotional. It was
Unbelievable.
really emotional.
You can't buy that. You can't buy that. Okay, that moment is like when you get that, when you literally just finish that battle and you know that you've won. Like, what's your immediate moment is obviously that you've made your family proud, which you've said, right? That was what it's all about. Was what else come into your mind? And then does anything else come in your mind at that point, like what's about to happen? Know that you've won all that hard work. Anyone that maybe said you were never going to do this, Ashley, you're never going to make anything of your life. I don't know. Did any of those moments happen? Because I used to have that bit.
The only doubt that's gone through my career is people that who are in the British team who I wouldn't say wouldn't believe that I've done it because I've always been number one in it's obvious I was always number one, but it's the people that have tried to get me out and tried to get me banned because their player is their number two, and it's all them people. It's basically a fuck you lot. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. Wow. Honestly, that must have been an amazing moment. So would you mind? Obviously, I know things have changed since then, but like I was wondering, like, could you like maybe explain and maybe what a day in the life of Ashley Judo when you are in full training mode, like because I don't think people realise how hard this is. Would you mind maybe walk through what your day would be like most days?
Most days when was training, so I'm gonna make sure everyone's clear on that. When I was training,
Yeah,
my week would look like Monday morning fighting session, Monday afternoon weights. You got a day, you got the rest of the evening off, unless you're coaching. Tuesday is run or like S&C, technique training, then randori in the evening. So that's three different ones. Wednesday, fighting session in the morning, then S&C at 4 o'clock. So like either shuttles or Thursday is the same as Tuesday. So it's technique training, S&C, and on top of that, a fighting session in the evening. Friday is just a technique session in the morning and then an S&C session in the evening. And then you have the weekend off. Now, bear in mind, there's some people within that week that what I do now, what I do present today, wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, teach schools business from 6:30, say seven till half seven, quarter to eight, then come back to the judo club and for 10 o'clock have to be on the mat.
wow.
There's people that do the session like that, do a session in the morning, session in the afternoon, and in the afternoon, they have to go to the after school club. So this was all fitted in my training. Not only that, there would be that, and then me going to see my little girl, me preparing for competition, me trying to sustain an income for me to get to that competition because I never got paid by British Judo. I done it all self-funded because I didn't want to be part of that team. I didn't want them to say, we made him. It was I made me. My club made me. So it was all of that and more. Making weight, food, dietary, girlfriends, exes, baby mums. It was a lot. It was a lot.
Wow. See, that's why I asked that question, because I know people realise that what sacrifices you have to make and to go through that whole process. And but when do you like ramp that up a bit, going up to the Commonwealth Games? Like, where do you have to like maybe go even harder, or do you like, I don't know, how do you manage that?
All them sessions stay the same, and the sessions get harder. So there's a maintenance, strength, power. All of that goes up. It all works in little zigzags. So power will go up, strength will go up, S&C might go down a bit, and do you know what I mean? It will all work in your own program. Because what I'm doing is not what you're gonna do. I'd say you're 90 kilos. I'm 60 kilos. You're not gonna have the same program as me because I need to make weight. So I need to run. You're not gonna run at 90 kilos. You might just want to lose a bit of power so you might drop 2 kilos, but I'm gonna drop 4 kilos. So your program is not the same as mine.
Yeah.
So everyone varies. So I'd say on competition week, mine went lower because I didn't like to feel like I'm doing weights or feel like I'm doing power the week leading up. So I just do a run every day, every morning.
Yeah.
And I do different sessions, pick up different sessions I was doing. Wouldn't do all of them.
And because of that, obviously, does that has that given you that self-discipline, like in your own personal life now? Like, that discipline
No,
that you had to give?
I think at the moment I'm with due respect, I'm lost.
Yeah.
I'm very lost in life.
Yeah.
I'm lost in relationships. I'm lost on TikTok. I'm like I wouldn't not say lost in family because I know I've got them there, but I I finishing judo is I've lost my mind. Like I've not dealt with it. I've never dealt with it in the right way.
They,
I've
they
always
do say
gone.
a lot of sports, but do that's quite a thing that people say a lot in different sports, that that people don't get that sport of when they leave to go back to real life, that there isn't that help within that,
Yeah,
maybe
like I
that
said,
particular sport.
I've got amazing people on the app, off the app. I've got coaches. I've got my mum. I've got my brothers. I've got friends that understand, but it's easy said, call it picking up the phone than actually doing it.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I'd pick a drink up and I'd just forget about it.
yeah.
If I didn't have this bet on the days that I'm off, I could go and get a can.
Yeah,
And that's me being honest with everyone.
yeah, exactly. And that's what it's just. This is
It's
the
it's
reality.
it's
Yeah,
getting me out of my own head, and I think I I go on TikTok and I believe that I try to entertain more so as well, just to get out of my own thought process,
yeah,
of knowing that it's the end of judo.
yeah. But your work ethic. But one thing that it does sound like is your work ethic hasn't changed. If like the way that you're using this as a different outlet, but you still need to have that work ethic, that kind of like, I'm going to still like go do my coaching in the mornings, or school that you talked about earlier. You're still your ethic of working hasn't changed. And I want to ask for that, really, actually, where does that come from? Does that come from like your mum, your brothers, or like does anybody that you've I guess inherit that from, or you looked up to people in your life?
I think it's a very of all. My brother's very work ethic. I think if you, I'm saying this, but it's so naive myself. I rely on yourself, you know what I mean? But I'm on an app, I'm relying on other people, so it's very controversial. But yeah, I think you put in the hours and you put in the time, and you shall endly get the result. And I think for me, I wouldn't want to ever. There was a saying, when you step on a mat, could you look at yourself in the mirror and say, I've done everything that I can do? And I think that's my motto. Can I put as much more hours in TikTok, much more entertainment, or can I go to wake up do my classes? Can I do at the end of the year, because I want a house, have I done enough for this? And as long as I can look in the mirror and say, yes, I have, that's what somewhat would make me feel relieved. And that's where my work ethic comes from.
Yeah.
Within me, within what my brother and my dad was like. And as well, I have to provide. I provide for my little girl, you know. I don't go there and sponge off them. They've got my credit card. She's got my credit card. She pays for my daughter, you know.
Yeah.
I give my own credit card. She can do what she wants with it.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's amazing. I'm going to talk about your daughter in a bit, actually. But obviously, like you've done all right. But was there a time when you thought, you know what, I can't do it. I'm going to give up. What was it that kind of kept you going?
I don't think there's ever a time where I've gone, I'm gonna quit. I think I was too deep into judo, or too deep into knowing that if I quit, I'll end up just selling drugs or some shit.
Yeah.
Because I can't live. I don't have the facilities to live a normal life anymore. I don't have the tools. I can't wake up and work for someone to someone tell me what to do. Like, I'm not ignorant and I'm very polite, but I couldn't work in Sainsbury's. I couldn't work in a normal office. I can't sit down for more than 10 minutes. Like, I've been playing with cards now. I can't just sit here. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I have no choice but to continue.
Yeah. What's been the toughest loss you've experienced in your career, and how did you bounce back from it? Obviously, you won the gold, right? But what was your toughest loss on the way? You look back and think, oh, that hurt, that one.
My first national medal. I got bronze and I lost in the semi-finals. And it's the only tournament my dad's ever come and watch. My dad's hardcore Jamaican. I remember crying. It was my first year of doing judo. I wasn't meant to be at the nationals. They graded me more grades than I should have been graded. Just for the fact is of they wanted me to do my first nationals. And it was my first bronze and my only bronze in nationals. And the rest of them have been gold. But that I remember looking at my dad and him like, why I'm to you? What you crying for? And I'm looking at him thinking, you piece of shit. Like, not even like fucking and oh mate, in the bronze fight I absolutely tore this guy a new arsehole. I was so angry. But it was so devastating to lose in front of my dad. It's the only tournament he didn't come and watch me do Olympics.
Right.
Literally when I was young, like 11. It's the only tournament he's ever watched. And I wish I'd won it.
Yeah. And you think you might have come to other ones if you did win?
You would never know. I'd
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah.
The Why Now podcast with DJ Scottos.
You mentioned celebrity Big Brother. How did you find being around people that probably may have been more of a celebrity, if you don't mind me saying? And how did you deal with that? And I can't remember where you came, but did you enjoy it?
First of all, when I went in there, I walked down the stairs and I said to everyone, I was on a program called Bad Boy Olympian. I've just come back from the Olympics and I've lost first fight. My name's Ashley. Like, I made it very clear to people. They didn't have to ask questions. Who's that guy? Who's that? Like, I made it clear. I was in with Martin Kemp, Harvey from So Solid, Colleen Nolan, Julian Clary. Like,
Wow.
there's some big names. You know what I mean?
Gods,
So
yeah, wow.
I'm going in there and there was the way they perceived it. Like, I was hiding cigarettes. I was tying up people's shoelace. I was being a cheeky me. But everyone loved it. I'm the only person who's ever gone on there and had one vote for my whole 2 weeks. I had one vote because me, Harvey, and the situation, really good friends.
Yeah.
And she said I was a ringleader. And I was like, that is stupid what you've just done. Like, no one's ever going to vote for me, so good luck trying to get me out. Like, she was trying to get people to like, and I was just like, that's so stupid. Ringleader, you look at me. But I got to the finals and I came fifth.
Wow.
Julian Clary won it. Martin Kemp, no, Colin Nolan come second. Martin Kemp come third. The situation come fourth. I come fifth, and Harvey came sixth. But yeah, I got to the finals. And bear in mind, I went in there with no more than 1,000 followers in all of my platforms, and I come out with like 60 or 70,000. Like, if I had gone in there with 60, 70, I might have had a chance of getting the top three. But when you go in there, no one knows you, then you come out with everyone knowing you. It's hard to comprehend of you being in top. Like, I was happy just being there, let alone getting to the full finals. I was like, yo, how the fuck am I here?
That was about 13 years ago, right? As no social media was starting to pick up then, but it's not like it is now. So, yeah, I think if you went in there now at that age, like in the same scenario, I think it would have been a different story. And yeah, you do. I do remember you. But yeah, that must have been such a whirlwind experience. So, I did want to ask you in 2023, you made the decision to represent Jamaica, right? Obviously, for people who may or may not know, what inspired you to make that change, and what does it mean to you to compete for your father's heritage?
I think there's a backstory to this. Like I said to you, in 2012, I represented Great Britain and I was clearly number one. And I've been number one since, I say, 12, 13, through juniors, cadets, all of that, under 23. And even back then, I was getting banned for things that other people would do as well. So when they gave me a decision in 2016 to be part of a self-funded route, so it means I pay for everything myself. In 2021, Tokyo was the next Olympics. And I said to myself, I will get there on my own route. And I managed to get there on my own route. I struggled with funding and that, but I managed to get there on my own route. I was the only man to make it as well. So not only that I'd done it my own self, but I was the only man outside of the national centre. So they had millions and millions of pounds pumped into these lot, pumped into them. So I said to them, look, I'm the only man. I know it's COVID and that. Can I take my own coach? No. Sweet. Can I take my own training partner? No. But you're going to take our training partner, but everything's going to be ours. Sweet. No worries. I'm going to have to deal with it. I have no choice. So bear in mind that I've done everything myself. They decided they want their coaches to coach me in the Olympics. They want their training partners. Now, 4 days before the Olympics, their team flies over. I fly over before. I get used to being in Japan. My training partner of theirs got COVID. So now I've got a training partner that comes, but he's under 100 kilos. So he's about 6'4", 6'5".
Right, God.
So not only that they've messed up my game to start off with, but the coach that's been coaching me through all the big events in the national team is part of that circle. So now I don't even know who my coach is. So I don't have a training partner. I don't have a coach. Anyways, it all sorted itself out. I ended up having a big training partner who's big, way bigger than me. I ended up having a coach that's coached me before. I knew her, but not the original coach that we had planned. So it was just a shambles. I lost my fight.
The What, Why Now podcast.
The national, like president, not the president, but like the top guy in our team. After I lost. I got poked in the eye. I lost. It was a shambles. They didn't come up to me. He didn't say anything to me. So the next day, I was watching the next player, the girls. She done well. I said, well done to her. I was around the team. No one still come up to me. I know Mark England. Mark England's deputy chief of the Olympics. If you write his name, Mark England. He is the top guy. I've known him since I was young. I've known him since I was cadets because I went to Youth Olympics and he'd speak to me. And I went up to him and I said, if none of the team come up to me, I'm going to go back to the centre. I mean, I'm going to go back to the Olympic.
The What, Why Now
and I'm going
podcast.
to flying kick this geezer in his face. And he was like, Ashley, I'll sort it out. He said, go to your room and relax, please. I don't want you getting in trouble. You're going to get arrested. I said, I promise you on my life, I'll go back to that centre. Before that girl fights for a bronze, I'll fly and kick him. He was like, actually, leave it. I'm going to text him now. He's texted him. I've got a text. Ashley, I was meant to get a hold of you. I'm not really good on my phone, but I was meant to talk to you. I said, mate, you're such a liar. I said, all I'm asking for is I feel alone already because I'm the only one outside the national centre here. I've made it on my own. I've not got my coach here. I've not got my training partner here. Like, give me something. Say, are you okay? Give me something from the national team. Nothing. Anyways, I had a massive row. Ended up coming home. There was a Commonwealth Games the year later. The last Commonwealth. I was a bit old, gone past my time. I didn't do judo for that whole year.
Wow.
I had to do some events, like some just little events, to make sure I was number one or number two in England to go. Now, the second boy who was in my weight was number one in Great Britain for under 60 kilograms in the whole of Great Britain. He was in the national squad. He was the boy. He was doing amazing, getting all these results. What better way to go than beat their boy in a finals? And I knew we'd be on separate draws. So it was in Birmingham. He's a Birmingham boy in Warsaw. It was in front of all the national team. And I had him in the finals. Now, all that week, he's been fighting me. He was heavy, quite heavy. So he dropped down. And he was very, very strong. But I knew him making under 60 kilograms is going to kill him. So we come to the finals, and I was just looking at the national team thinking, I know they want him to win. They don't want me to win because he's the national boy. He's national treasure. Do you know what I mean? Under a minute, I fucking put him on his head. And I made a massive point of looking all of them in the eyes and saying, I will still be number one. Even if I don't want to be, not compete for you lot, Great Britain, I could be number one still. So I beat him, shoved it in a base, basically told him to fuck off. I got a passport for my dad's inheritive. And my last Olympics was Paris in front of my little daughter who's French. My coach got to coach me. I had my own training partner. I won a fight, got top 16 like I did in my second Olympics. And it was just the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do because I had my coach there. I had my people there. And it was just a nice way to retire from judo.
Yeah.
And that's the reason I did it.
Yeah. Just, do you mind me asking, like how much do you have to like save or pay to go to something like the Olympics?
The whole thing altogether in a year would cost around 40 grand.
Wow.
Coaching fees, living fees, training fees, competitions. And don't get me wrong, I've had sponsors, you know.
How easy is it to get sponsors, and how, like, if somebody was doing what you're doing now, is it really, really hard?
It's ridiculously hard. You have to be lucky.
Yeah.
Like, you have to know people, and I'm just fortunate to have the people around me who cared for me, and some of my friends sponsored me, and you know, some of the people, my peers. It was very hard.
Oh, that's there. And like you mentioned Jamaica, so how was the transition to Jamaica's Judo Federation? What was their support like? And
Their
you?
support was amazing from the
Why
start.
Now podcast with DJ Scottos.
I had help with tournaments. They paid for me. They let my coach. It was just a free ride. It was a free. They let me do what I could do, and I'd done best. And I managed to win 2 or 3 tournaments back to back.
Nice.
And I ended up going to Olympics.
Did you get a lot of any comments or was there any negativity from?
No, I don't think they did. What could they say? You know,
Yeah.
They after representing Jamaica, them again, just reminding everyone, them in Paris they didn't have one man to go to Olympics. They didn't qualify anyone in the men's category, in any category to go to Olympics. So I was the only man in Tokyo to go, being self-funded. I was the only man to go for Jamaica, but not only Jamaica, they had no men. The proof is in the pudding.
Yeah,
I ended up going to 4 Olympics, 2 of them. If I could have gone for Great Britain if I really tried. It would have been harder, but I would have gone. The proof's in the pudding. They have nothing to say.
What a story in the judo side of stuff. So look, obviously judo has been in your life for 20 odd years, right? A bit more. How have you balanced life as in judo and also being a father at the same time?
I'm going to say my baby mum, Refer, has been amazing. She knows judo. She's been in judo. It's very fair to say she understood what I was doing and how I was doing it. Has it been hard in terms of not being with the baby mum and being so stupid when I was young? yeah, do I miss my girl every day? I do.
Yeah,
In terms of being away from her through judo, I think that's been my life. So have I got used to it? Yeah. Do I think about it some days and shed a tear? I do. Yeah.
yeah. No,
But
I've got
part
kids,
of
and I
life.
know it's like. What's been your proudest moment so far of your daughter?
Seeing her do ballerina.
Is she really good?
We tried to get her into judo, and I'm so happy she didn't want to. She goes, the jacket was too hot. She's a little princess.
Yeah,
She's a little princess, and yeah, I
yeah,
think I think me it's a ballerina when she dances for me.
yeah. What if her friends were to ask you what you do for a living? What would she say? Do you think?
I think she just say he does judo, something to do with judo. I don't think she knows about TikTok yet. Let's
Yeah.
hope she doesn't.
You was in Paris. I know some of the guys went to watch you, and I think she was on TikTok a couple of times. I think you showed her. She's lovely, by the way. I've got a 30-year-old daughter, so can relate to the relationship you have with your daughter. But she seems to have that personality from you as well. I don't obviously know the mum, but what's the most important thing you do when you do get time with her?
I think literally just being with her. Like, don't get me wrong. There is. She loves them trampoline parks and that. Like, and I've got a good solid 40 minutes in me where I can play with, and then after that, I'm like, darling, look, you go and play with some of your friends because I can't do them. Like, but we try to spend like just time with her, even if
Yeah,
even sometimes she just wants to go to the cinema
yeah,
and chill with me, and we have popcorn. We might not speak, but just knowing that I'm here next to her that's good enough for me.
yeah.
I don't need to read a book with her, or like we can go and buy toys and we just play. Or I can go on live sometimes. She's just next to me playing with her toys because respectfully, it's just being with her
Yeah,
makes me happy.
yeah.
Being
It's
beside
building
her,
memories, isn't it?
like and like her putting lipstick on me or her playing toys. That's all I need. I think that's all she needs.
Yeah. By the way, I don't think you need your daughter to put lipstick on. I've seen you put it in a filter on TikTok, by the way. You seem very comfortable with that. You mentioned your mum quite a bit and your brothers, but what impact have they had on your life? Like maybe describe your relationship with your mum and your brothers and your dad as well.
I'll start with my dad. My dad's very old school Jamaican. If I even go on my messages now, it's how are you, son? No, love you. It's very, and I think I've adopted that in my relationships. I've been quite harsh. A very weird relationship with me and him in terms of if I don't message him, there's no messages. You know what I mean? I've always looked up to my brother as a older male figure in my life, but it's always been there. You know what I mean? There's been my coaches that I've had through the years that have been like father figures, but Aaron's always been there. You
Yeah.
know, my little brother, I'm like he's dad. I look after him. I'm like
Yeah.
Father Christmas. I'm like the bank. I'm like Easter. I'm like Christmas to him. I think we have a very funny relationship. I get him to do little things for me, and we have that kind of backwards and forth banter relationship. When it
Yeah.
comes in terms to my mum, I owe her my life,
Yeah.
um, and I'd do anything for her. You
Yeah.
know, um, she saved my life. She's one who pushed me to do judo when there was times when I was just mucking about on the streets, doing things that I shouldn't do. Um, Without her, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
I owe her. I owe her the world, and I always try to, as much as I can, give her the world.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And to you about her as well. How would she describe what you're doing for a living?
She comes on my live, and I remember battling a couple of people, and she going, "He's that's fucking rude, isn't he?" Mum, you do not want to hear what I say to them. But yeah, she doesn't understand it still. She will snipe a whale, not on doubles, not on a glove, and then text me later saying, Ash, I need 20 quid. And I'm like, why did you do that? Why did you do that? What's the reason? There's no reason. Well, I don't like the way he spoke to you. And I'm like, fair dues, mum. Recycling that's best. I'll send you 20 quid. There you go.
So look, obviously we've talked about TikTok quite a bit. How long have you been on it for?
So not last April, but the April before. So I've
Oh,
done it
okay.
a year. I've done it a year and a bit.
Wow. But when you went on there for the first time, like, and you started going on there, obviously things have evolved with it. But did a lot of people that knew you pre TikTok kind of follow you with it, or was it kind of like feeling you had to start?
I think my videos when it was more lockdown, I think they kind of blew up, and I think people followed me from different social platforms. I think that's what got me out there, and I don't really want to say this, but this has kind of been my lowest dip because I've been on the app so long. I think everyone knows who I am. I don't know if they've got bored of me, but yeah, I think it was the initial Ashley's online. Do you know what I mean? Go and help him, and I couldn't believe my luck. If I'm being honest, looking back then, my luck because I had so many people supporting me. Like I could run through names that I remember, like my first ever mods and like the amount of support I had back then is now looking back, I fucking wish I was back then again.
If you could, I guess, effectively talk to yourself two Aprils ago, what would you say to him now?
Save.
Save.
Yeah, save money. Because I did not know that does not happen every week. I generally did not know. I thought I'm gonna get this amount of diamonds every week and you don't.
Yeah.
You certainly don't. You're new on the app, everyone wants to be a part of you. That doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah, and also, like, what would you say has been your biggest achievement, maybe a biggest battle? What's one thing that you think, you know what, I always think of that moment or the best thing that's ever happened to me? You haven't got number one just yet, which you will one day, but
Not on the dailies. I've got it 3 times on the weeklies.
yeah, on the weekly.
I wouldn't even say it was getting number one. I'd say there was 2 moments. One moment was someone organized a battle with Wolf back in the day. Like I've been on the app not even a month, and I remember me having this battle, and I think I lost by maybe a lion or 2 lions, but I remember putting up a real good fight. I remember putting up and I was pleased with myself because I knew he was the top don on the app at that time. And it was like, wow, like there's loads of people supporting me. And then I think my live pro, I know that I could have got number one, but I remember coming offline and helping Ryan Steele get live pro. And I think that just shows my heart. I could have probably been snapped off, but I had a lot in my account, and he messaged me saying, "Could I help?" And I said, "No worries, mate. If that's what it takes for us both to make it that day on Live Pro, then I'd be there for you." And I sniped him to get into Live Pro, and we got both Live Pro together at the same time. It was really nice.
Wow. Just a couple more bits on TikTok. Like, how do you let people in like trusted people?
What I would call friends on here. There's a handful of them. I don't have 20 friends. I have friends that would message me and I would message them. Hope you're having a good time with your family. How are you today? The ones that I text and message me, I'd call my friends. There's people that obviously benefit from you playing them or benefit from you doing things with them, their battles, etc. I think it comes with the app. I don't not trust anyone until my trust is broken.
Yeah.
And I think the app is full of people who manipulate, do this and do that. And
with regards to the word trolls, for people that don't know what trolls is on TikTok, send you messages to you directly on live. How do you deal with that?
I don't deal with trolls. Most of my mods block them before I get too angry. I think there's a video back in the day. There's one troll, and I don't know who it was. And I can promise you on my life, if I ever found out the name of that person and I found out where they live, I'd do something about it. It was my little kid. They kept printing pictures of my little kid and putting this sexy doll and can't wait, can't wait for that night with her. And I generally I could generally find it on my TikTok,
Oh,
and there was a point of, there is a level I feel
yeah, yeah,
with when it comes in terminology of how far you can go as a troll, who's behind, like, who is that nasty to be behind something like that?
yeah.
Who are
Mad.
you? What are you? And I think that the reaction was based on, oh, this is it. I love this app, it helps me out madly. Like, I'll be really honest with you. I've been number 3. I've made amazing friends from it. It helps my ADHD. I've never seen the dark side of this app ever. Like, I've had trolls and it's been quite banter. But today, literally just now, I had to come off because I was ready to literally smash my phone. Like, that's my little go on it. Now, I don't mind, like, you lot taking a piss out my shortness or my blue tick or me being black, me being small. Like, that's all good in it. If anyone, and I'm talking anyone, knows, just whoever's behind this, I just want to know, like, their name. I just want to know their Instagram. I just want to know something about them, because I'm all for a joke. Yeah, I'm a happy kind of a lucky guy. Do you know what I mean? I've been very fortunate in my life to be where I am today. You know what I mean? But there's no way anyone you seen a name and with a picture of my girl. Other than that, I've never had anything serious. Never, and no one's trolled my name or allegations, or when different big people have these kind of things. This person said this, or this person was racist, or this person got with this person. This wasn't meant to. I've never had that kind of that side to the app.
Yeah, that's mad. That is, honestly, I'm that is a side. Is the worst thing you could do, and I've got a daughter, and I would do the same, 100%. Even family, mums. I think when it comes to family, mum and stuff like that, that's where you're going to see me turn into like Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? Like, that's it, I'm done. What are you doing now outside of TikTok? You mentioned earlier that you're still involved with judo. You're doing some teaching and stuff. Outside of those things, what else are you looking to do to keep yourself busy, motivated, and sort of any plans that are coming up?
I think I've got a boxing fight coming up, so I'm just literally working on my boxing technique. It could go 2 ways, for me, it's a hobby, and I wanna do well at it. Like, I don't ever do anything half-hearted, so I do one-to-one sessions every week. Try to train when I can. I think for me, that's my main goal in terms of sport outside of TikTok. But other than that, it's literally just try to get a team. And try to get number one. It's as simple as that. And not only that, I think I teach outside judo, seeing my little girl, and they're the things I want to focus on. I want to focus on buying a house by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I think it's reasonable if I can get a team together and I don't know, maybe get a sugar mama. I don't know, fuck knows. But if I can get a couple of rich people in my team, I'll be able to do it. But again, it's sometimes it's luck on the app, and I think off the app, I just focus on my judo and my teaching. And when I'm on the app, just have fun.
So you got this bet going. When does the bet finish with the person you bet with for this 10K?
Finishes, I think, next year, January.
Wow.
Next year, January.
So you can't drink another drink until then?
I can only have 5 drinks, so 5 days worth of drinking in the whole year.
Wow.
So if I drink once, I might as well drink for the whole day. And I've only got 5 days that I can do it now left.
Wow. And what's been the hardest part of that so far?
Again, me just being in my own head.
Yeah.
I use drink to get out of my head. Same way I use reggae music, sports, just to not even think about. If I overthink and I get anxieties, I might get mad. I start creating my own problems, issues.
So you've been in some other celebrity kind of entertainment reality programs. Which one was your favourite? And are there any other ones that you would love to do you haven't done yet?
Celebrity get me out of it be good. I think I'll be pretty good on dancing on ice. Um, yeah, something dancing. I believe. I don't know if I am. I just dance a lot on live, so I believe I'm good at dancing. Maybe I'm not, but I think something like that. Yeah.
You got to tell
I
yourself you're
I
good
say
though, right?
celebrity get me out of it, but let's be honest. I don't really want to eat like kangaroo nuts and them things there.
Oh.
So
Do you have like a manager sort of like informs you of things?
she puts me forward, and yeah, it goes from there really. And sometimes it works out. Sometimes they look for other people. You know.
I do want to talk a bit more about ADHD before we finish. Looking back at your career today, where you've come to right now, where do you think ADHD has given you the success by having ADHD?
I wouldn't say it's given me success, but I knew it was something that I was good at was judo. And I think my ADHD on on having a scrap and putting all my energy onto that, I think that's where I benefited because where people be tired, like, I'd be just getting started in a session. Do you know what I mean? And I think I loved the knowing of getting my energy out in judo was always good. And I think that means I would work more harder, faster, stronger. And I think that's where my benefits came in when I got ADHD because I just wouldn't stop.
Yeah. And also then maybe talking about the struggles as well. Like what advice would you give to people that may think they've got ADHD or have got ADHD? What sort of advice would you give to people?
For me, it's take time and understand yourself, you know. Like I say that and I still haven't done it myself, but I don't have great relationships. I don't have great. There's nothing always amazing in my life, and that's because I haven't dealt with my own issues. I haven't dealt with the past, the present, or the future. And I think I tried to escape. I think when you've got ADHD, it's easy to just distract your mind on different things that you don't want to worry about, or leaving things, or leaving things till the next day. Like there's a lot of things that I do to get out of my own head, and I think when you've got ADHD, you lose track of that.
Yeah.
All I'd say to people is losing track's not going to always help it. Like actually focusing on it and dealing with it helps it. And I would never take my own advice ever. I'm just not like that. But I know that's the thing I should do.
You're in the public eye, everyone sees you, but like, what do you like to do for fun?
I'm around TikTok so much, and I like going out. I like doing different things. You know what I mean? There's not one specific thing I do. There's not one specific thing I do.
Do you have any hobbies?
I got into playing poker. I actually got into playing poker, and my last bit of poker is I used to pay to go into tournaments. Like they were not like $20.
Yeah.
And the one I didn't, it used to be me and my mate. And the one time I didn't pay for him to enter a tournament, he come like second, and he got like 7 grand. He didn't give me a penny, and that's when I give up. I was like, "You little fucker!" But
Yeah. Well, you must be good though.
I
It
could do
must be good
poker
level.
I could do poker every now and then. I go
Yeah.
casino, go
Yeah.
poker.
I learned it on during COVID, played online with friends and stuff because there's nothing else to do. So, but I was terrible. I had no patience. I don't know how you play because having ADHD is like
I think where you think like it's just patience. I like the challenge of tricking someone and
yeah,
bluffing them,
yeah,
and then not bluffing them and then calling me. I think that's what got my head like, oh, what's gonna come next? You know what I mean? The excitement of it.
yeah. No, 100%. So what are you looking forward in the future personally and professionally? You've touched on a little bit of this, but like just a bit more.
I'd like to be a national coach for a country and also number one. Try to get number one dailies one day. Hopefully, probably on my birthday, it'll be no me. Um, and in the future, I'd like to save up for a house next the end of the year. I'd like to save up enough money to buy a house.
Nice. Okay. This is the question is the last couple, but this question some people find a bit strange, but I always ask this. But how would you want to be remembered?
Good, honest, warm-hearted person who majority of people can come to.
Love that. Love that. Right. So on that note, thank you so much, by the way, for doing this. I really, really appreciate it. I know we've been organising this for a while for different reasons, but really appreciate your time. But just before we go, if people want to check out your socials across TikTok and other socials, where would they find you?
I'm Ashley Judo on TikTok. I'm Ashley Judo on Instagram. I'm Ashley Judo on Favorited.
You know, having OCD and ADHD, it doesn't mean that your life's over. Even at a young age, it proves to you that actually you can do really, really well. I look at, and I think Ashley, for me, is one of those people. He's an entrepreneur, and that's the kind of people that I'd have on my podcast that can show the ups and downs. And hopefully people listening to this will have been really inspired like I have. So thank you so much, Ashley. And listen, enjoy the rest of your day. I look forward to continue watching you on TikTok and watching you on some form of social media. But wish you the best of luck. Carol being a great father and a great creator for people to come along and watch us have some good days laughing along. So thank you so much. Episodes will be available every Saturday. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit subscribe and follow to receive notifications of each of my new shows. Also, make sure you like, share and comment. Thank you for listening.